We live in fractious times. But then again, you didn't need me to tell you that. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. Disagreement and conflict are a part of the human experience. Call it part of the reality of sin in which we all find ourselves enmeshed. Call it whatever you like, but the fact remains that we human beings disagree on nearly everything. Today, though, we find ourselves in such a state of fragmentation that I really think that if people in one group said the sky is blue, people in the other group would say the sky is green, just because agreeing with the other side is simply incomprehensible. And it goes for just about everyone today. There is still no better a symptom of this malady than different people's reactions to and attitudes toward the COVID-19 pandemic. It may be hard to remember how uncertain we were in the midst of the early weeks of the pandemic. Some were so cautious that they did not want anything to return to normal unless and until there was a vaccine and we had achieved some modicum of herd immunity from the coronavirus. Others were so dismissive of the virus and the disease and of the steps our country took to try to minimize the medical impact on our citizens that closing businesses and schools to them was simply stupidity. Perhaps no better example illustrates this than a story I heard from one of you during those weird times. It seems a woman witnessed a verbal altercation in a local grocery store in which a shopper in the store who wasn't wearing a mask was scolded by another shopper for her lack of personal protective equipment. Later that same day, the woman who had witnessed this altercation found herself the object of a verbal assault, but for exactly the opposite reason. In this case, she was berated for wearing a mask. Go figure. My point is, our culture is in such a state of conflict that people think nothing of attacking others who think or act differently from themselves. And we've seen it play out in the unlikeliest places, including on airplanes, where the least little provocation can send some people over the edge and prompt shouting matches, even fistfights. It all seems surreal to me, especially when the provocateurs claim to be acting in the name of their Christian faith. But the church is supposed to practice a different way of life. Obviously, we often fail to live up to our high calling, but we have this high calling nevertheless. Listen to what Paul tells the little Christian community in Ephesus. I, therefore, the prisoner in the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Humility, patience, bearing with one another, unity, peace. These are words that are geared toward helping a community stay together, even in times of disagreement and conflict, especially in times of disagreement and conflict. They have helped the church stay together in some difficult times throughout the ages, but of course the church has not always practiced these things, and the result has been division and even schism. At its best, however, the church has managed to live up to these words. So imagine if the church could demonstrate these words to the world right now. Imagine what a difference the church could make if we could manage not so much to agree on everything, because that's not going to happen, but to disagree in such a way that we not insult each other's intelligence, impugn each other's character, or imprecate each other's motives. Well, that would be something, wouldn't it? And we would each have the power to practice exactly what Paul preaches each and every day. We don't have to wait for anything else to happen to do exactly what Paul suggests. It won't solve all the problems of the world, but it will make all the problems of the world just a little easier to solve if we all are no longer part of the problem if we no longer disagree and insult each other at the drop of a hat. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.